What happens when a great veterinary practice is excellent at patient care, but it's invisible to the pet owners searching online? And for many independent practices, that's becoming a major challenge. Independent clinics are competing not only with the practice down the street, but also with larger corporate groups that often have deeper marketing budgets, stronger systems, and more digital visibility. So on today's episode of the Veterinary Business Podcast, we're talking about how veterinary practices can compete smarter, build trust faster, and create a more predictable flow of new clients in a marketplace that is changing quickly. Our guest is Cebron Walker, CEO of Walker Creative, a St. Petersburg, Florida-based marketing and creative agency. Cebron brings more than 30 years of experience in marketing, public relations, branding, video, and growth strategy as well, with work spanning healthcare, education, publishing, film, and corporate communications. He is also the author of the upcoming book, Veterinary Marketing. It is a handbook focused on helping veterinary practices build a predictable new client engine, use AI-driven marketing strategies, improve digital presence, and grow sustainably in the AI era. So today we'll explore the future of veterinary marketing, how independent practices can stand out against corporate competitors, and what practice owners should be doing now to turn visibility into measurable growth. Cebron, welcome to the Veterinary Business Podcast. I'm really excited to dive into the conversation because I think a lot of practice owners are feeling this shift right now.
Oh, it's fantastic. And thank you very much. What a wonderful introduction. That was beautiful.
So your new book, right? It talks a lot about helping veterinary practices build a predictable new client engine. What does that actually look like in practice today?
Well, today we have, and as you pointed out, such incredible competition and noise in the marketplace. And so I think as business owners of any type of business, but specifically and particularly veterinary practice owners that are independent, how do they compete? They don't necessarily have the budgets. How do they stand out in their market when maybe there's a few other vet practices of choice and then the corporate offices? And my book, Veterinary Marketing, is for them. I've been doing this game of marketing and PR for over 30 years, but I've been working with veterinary clinics for about 10 years now from my agency, Walker Creative. And I felt that it was time after getting the chance to help these individuals that own vet practices so long. And many of my clients have been with me many, many years. And I thought, well, I'm only going to be able to reach in my lifetime so many, if I'm lucky, right? Maybe 100 independent practice owners that I can directly help myself. So I've got to do something to talk to and share the successful steps to do this. And a book was the right answer. So I wrote the book, and it includes sort of the 7 principles, the 7 factors that if you follow this pattern, this is the pattern. I'm not saying it's the only pattern, certainly, right? There are people that, they sort of get the lottery and they get lucky and they sort of explode on social media. And so because their YouTube channel was huge and they happen to be really good on camera on a YouTube channel and they have that ability, that became why they grew. And so there are outliers that have something that made them grow big, and that's wonderful, right? But for everybody in a general sense, we have found a pattern at Walker Creative from working directly with practices that if we follow this pattern, it works. We just know it works. And like I said, it may not be the only thing that works, but this does work. And it makes you stand out as an independent practice owner. And there's sort of a flywheel I sort of explain and by the end of the book that sort of, if let's say a pottery wheel, if you're doing pottery and you spin the wheel and it's got this concrete wheel at the bottom. If anybody's done that as a child, I know I had to go to pottery class, and once you get this thing moving, it tends to keep moving on its own. And so I use that concept by the end of the book of a flywheel effect, that once you've gotten all 7 of these factors really in place for your practice, that you have that flywheel effect going, and then the momentum is a lot easier through the years to keep going. So that's what's so exciting about releasing this book. And the book will be published by the end of July. So July we'll have a release, and I'll make sure everybody knows about it. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, absolutely. Now we're seeing more corporate groups buying veterinary practices, right? And they often have bigger budgets and stronger visibility. So where do independent practices still have an advantage?
They have an advantage through being more human, because the corporate practices, and I know my own experience of, let's say, a corporate dental practice that I may take my family to. I have quickly left those environments because they tend to treat their patients, whether human or animal, as a number. And we have a huge advantage. And it's a much more fun and fulfilling advantage, because by being more human, by being more connected with the community and more family, and portraying that. Now, it's one thing to be that, and it does tend to come through your whole practice if you're that way, if your front office is that way with every new person who walks in, right? And if, as you, the doctor, or the doctors of the clinic, approach and interact with people in that way. But there's things from a marketing perspective, like to brand yourself that way. And it starts with knowing your target audience, developing the right messaging, and then putting that out there through social media, through your website, through your emails that you may send at certain times, not overly emailing people, of course, and the different things you do, right? Your Google business profile, other online listing spaces that we need to be on. And of course, today with AI, I mean, people are using ChatGPT primarily, but also Claude and Perplexity and Google Gemini and Grok and these different AI chatbot tools. And they have their phones in their pockets, and they're just talking with them, especially if you're an older millennial to Gen X to our seniors today. Those people tend to work like Googling and with a computer and a desktop. But your younger audiences that do have pets, that are starting families, they're just talking to these phones, and they're asking for recommendations from ChatGPT or Claude or whatever their choice is, right? And we need to build our websites to have information written properly, so that your veterinary practice is the recommended practice, and not only the recommended practice as in the website, but you're the authority about, what do I do if my dog's throwing up, or if it's limping, or if my cat ate something and I'm not sure what to do about it during the holidays, or if you tend to be an equine practice and you handle horses and maybe farm animals. If different things are happening with your animals, they're just going to ask for recommendations. You want to be the source of those recommendations, where your tips, tricks, information is provided. And then you see that, oh, well, this doctor is serving people at this clinic and they're 10 miles away. And we're finding that the numbers are increasing every single week on the use of AI for those recommendations. And so we're building websites specifically to serve those AI tools.
Yeah, of course. But, at the same time, I believe veterinary medicine is still such a relationship-driven industry. So AI and automation are obviously changing marketing really fast right now. So how do practices use those tools well without losing that, personal connection pet owners still expect?
Yeah, it's a great question. And I will say that humanization is a word you'll hear from Walker Creative a lot. And the way, again, I'll touch back to the first question, is the way we stand out is humanizing ourselves. And so while we do that inside the practice through our interactions, the way we show our practice through our website, through our social media, is real pictures, real photos, and real communication. So when we land on a website, especially if it's a corporate website, you will tend to see, and you could immediately do an exercise now or after the podcast and Google some corporate websites. You will find stock photos of maybe a really perfect looking family with perfect kittens or perfect pets, perfect dogs, and they're, playing in the grass, right?
Yeah.
But as a consumer, that's false. And so the trust signals tend to get lost, and there's less trust signals and more like, oh, they're not being honest with what this clinic really looks like and is inside, and the doctors, because I'm not seeing anybody. I'm seeing like fake photos, fake videos. When then I go, even potentially subconsciously as a consumer, I then look for something else because it doesn't feel right. And then I land on a community clinic that's a private clinic, and I see real video and pictures of the doctor or doctors interacting with real clients with their real pets throughout the homepage. Or if I go to, dog dental services page and I see a little 1-minute video from the doctor that's explaining. So when you come in for dental, we're not only going to do this and this and this, but we're actually addressing all the different things that could happen with a pet that doesn't get their dental fixed. It's not only bad breath that's the problem, right? And they really explain it to me. I have trust. I now know that doctor knows what he's talking about, and it's a real person. And so we stand out. It's much more a factor than we may really think about. Because if you do the comparison and just sort of take off your doctor hat or clinic hat or office manager hat, and you act like a public that might just be looking for a veterinarian, look at those corporate sites, then look at your site, and then find a great website that you really connect with, you'll find that it's humanized. And you'll find the corporate sites are not, because they can't do it. Their marketing machines are not built to do it. We have had a couple veterinarians that retired out of their practice. They were clients for 5-6 years. And they like, Cebron, look, we're retiring. We'd love to keep you on as the marketing team, but I got an offer I can't refuse. Like, 8 figures. It's an amazing buyout. And I know I shouldn't do it, but this corporate company offered me something I can't refuse. And they say, we're going to try to keep you on as the marketing company because you've done so well for us. So they do that. They go through that process. They do keep us on for a year, but then eventually the corporate office has all the power, and they say, Walker Creative, we're going to let you go. We're going to bring in our MIC marketing company that does all of our websites. And I always go back and check a month or two later, right? And it is every time the same. They've made everything look like the corporate office. It's all, blue on the outlines and then fake puppies and kittens. And it's just doesn't feel the same at all.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that is so true. So when a practice feels like they're losing momentum, how can they tell what the actual problem is? Whether it's visibility, trust, follow-up, positioning, or just not knowing where new clients are coming from?
It's a great question, and it's hard to say the one thing, and that's why I wrote the book, because a veterinary owner or maybe a practice manager who's trying to solve that problem, the book is built to help you evaluate for your practice what the issue is, so that you can do a good evaluation and then fix the broken part, right? You maybe, let's just take an example. Maybe you're investing a lot of money because you've had an ad agency say, well, look, we have to do Facebook ads. And if you don't spend $2,000 or $3,000 a month on Facebook ads, your competition's going to win. And that's what you have to do. And so they're paying the ad agency some kind of management fee plus the $2,000 or $3,000 a month in ad cost. And they're getting a ton of clicks and views, but it's not resulting in the new clients they're looking for. And they're putting all their investment in this. They're just stressed out in anxiety because they need to get in new clients. And they're spending all this money on advertising, and it's not working. After 2 or 3 months, they're freaking out because they're like, the ad agency said it's going to work, but it's not working. Oh my gosh, what do I do? And the truth is that the ad agency sold what they think is the solution from their perspective. But what they may have missed is that those ads are going to drive people to a website. It does the page they land on work well to convert them into, from leads to someone who's scheduled an appointment. And if you haven't humanized your website, and not only that, not only humanized your website, but built it to be very welcoming and make that human connection so that they want to click on the right button to make the schedule, call in, or whatever they're going to do. But a lot of people today, especially like I said, these millennials and younger that have new families and new pets in the house, they are going to check your socials, right? They're not necessarily going to just believe an ad. They'll see an ad, they'll go, okay, actually, my dog is doing this or that, or I have a new puppy or kitten, and so I should take them to a vet to get them checked out just because they're new. So they've seen an ad. They're not just going to click the ad and come right in. They're now going to check your socials. They're going to see, is this a great clinic that shares videos and pictures on their Facebook, on their Instagram, maybe on their TikTok? I would say Facebook and Instagram, just for everybody, is sort of the foundation because, Meta owns Facebook and Instagram both. So if you could, most people probably know at this point, you can post to one or the other, and then it'll post to the other one. So that's fine. And it's the most simple approach to your social media. So let's say you're posting really good to Instagram and you have good photos and good videos. And so this millennial consumer sees an ad and they go, oh, that's right, I need to do that. So now they check your socials to see about that trust factor, because it is a thing they do. Most everybody will check other places before they decide. And they check your socials. Well, let's say that ad agency said it's just doing ads and they didn't address your social, and they go to the social feed and there's nothing there. Or once a week, there's a post that's been some graphic from Canva that's not human. It's using a fake picture, or it's just some kind of graphic about, a pet tip or something. And it's not interesting at all. And in today's social world, they're just going to scroll right past it. They're not going to look at it because there's nothing to engage with. So you have to see, and it's laid out in the book, or it would be laid out, of course, if you were to do an interview with me and we do a free consult and review what's going on for your practice. But we'd find what's broken in the system, in the flywheel. We'd find the broken piece and fix that aspect. So maybe the ads would work if the website was fixed properly, and then the social media was fixed properly. And none of this is super hard to do. It's almost more of a coaching point to help you get these things in place. And then the ads will work. Now the investment in the ads will work. But until these other things are fixed, you could be wasting a lot of money. So that's just one example of what you might find as you read through the book and you go, oh, that's something I need to address.
Yeah. Now, when you talk about humanizing your website, humanizing your social media, would you be able to give 1 or 2 tips on how veterinary practices can do exactly that?
Totally. Well, first of all, we all have these devices in our phones, and the newer ones have great cameras. So for no investment at all, except for maybe some staff time, you can assign somebody to go take photos around the practice of people doing stuff. If you wanted to really get one more step up from that, you could go and look on social media and get some ideas of what veterinary practices videos they're making, fun videos, things that are cute in a vet practice, and take a little video of that. Start posting those to your social feed, right? Every other day. 2 or 3 times a week is fine. You don't need to be crazy. You don't need to do it every day. It just isn't necessary. 2 or 3 times a day. Then go to your Google business profile and make sure that that is fully filled out. And that's really important. Your Google business profile is sort of the second main location for your business online, your website being your business online. But your Google business profile should have tons of photos in the profile about the practice. A photo of the outside of the building as the main photo, your logo, and then lots of photos of things happening in your practice, people helping animals, doing the work of the veterinary clinic. So many clinics I've started working with had not really set up their Google business profile with all the information that's allowed there. You can also do updates on your Google business profile, which are sort of like Facebook posts. You can put a picture, you can put information. And so it's sort of like another social platform. So do your Instagram and Facebook, do your Google business profile, and then put updates on Google. That also signals Google that you're an active business and helps your SEO, your search engine optimization, so you show up in searches. And don't mistake the fact that, yes, AI is becoming more and more as a tool for people, but it doesn't mean SEO is not vital still. The majority of people are still searching on Google for businesses. So SEO and Googling is still very important. So do that work. But AI is just moving up as more and more used. So take those photos, put them on social, put them on Google, and then take some of those pictures you've taken and maybe not in vertical. Like for social media, your photos will be vertical using your phone like this. But for like a photograph of all the staff as a team, and then individual staff photos, and then staff holding animals for the homepage, and take those photos this way in your horizontal format, right? So you can crop them in a good way, right? And always take your photos with the camera facing that way, not in your selfie mode. When you take selfies, the camera on the selfie side is far less powerful as a camera, right? You're getting a better camera using this side. So have someone take the photos that way. And so get those photos on your socials, get those photos and videos on your website, and that'll be a huge step up. Of course, you can take it to the next level and hire a company to come in and do a video shoot and a photo shoot. We do that all the time with our clients when we're building a website. It's a cost, certainly, but it's well worth it to get that done. And then have that foundational piece of really good quality video and photos for your website, for your YouTube channel. And then in the future, you can update things and take more pictures, and you can just use your phone. You don't need to have a company like Walker Creative come every 6 months. That's really not necessary once you've built that great foundation.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's really interesting. So far, we've spoken about how a lot of practice owners feel but can't always see clearly. They know they need more new clients, but they may not know where the gap is in their website, their Google presence, their reviews, their local rankings, their messaging, or how they compare against the bigger groups showing up around them. So we are also talking about how why Equa Marketing, that is our platinum sponsor, is offering veterinary practices a complimentary marketing strategy meeting. It's not just a general marketing conversation. It's designed to help a practice owner look at the online health of their practice, where they show up, where competitors show up, what pet owners are likely seeing in search, how their reputation looks, and what opportunities may exist to create more predictable new client growth. So for a veterinary owner listening and thinking, I don't know where we're losing visibility or how we compare locally, this is a practical next step. So you can book your marketing strategy meeting at veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSN. All right. So
I highly recommend it, by the way, to all vet practice owners, even if you're not completely like freaking out and like, oh my gosh, I need like to solve my new leads coming in the door right now. But you just want a fresh perspective on how you're doing and take a good look at it. I totally do recommend getting a free marketing consult. Just like she said, it's so valuable just to get that feedback and see how you're doing. And a lot of it, maybe you can implement yourself, or maybe you do need a marketing, team like Equa to come in and support you. So either way, it's a great thing to do.
Yeah, that is so true. Once again, you can book your marketing strategy meeting at veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSN. Okay, so once a practice owner has that clarity, what should they focus on first over the next maybe 90 days?
I would say once you've got that clarity and once you've got that foundation in, you have good social posts getting done every 2-3 days in a week, you have your website humanized, and you've ensured that you have landing pages on, dental, laser therapy. If you let's say if you happen to do acupuncture and that's a big part of your practice, then you'd have a good landing page for that. Or if you're an equine practice and you do on-site visits at a farm or something like that for horses, whatever the different main services that you want to market and get leads for, those landing pages are well set up to give the information that people are looking for that may come right from an ad to that page, and then have a good call to action. If these foundational points are in place, then the next step is certainly run some Facebook ads, run some Google ads, so that you're then driving that traffic, because most of these are pay per click. So you are only going to pay when someone clicks on your ad to go to your website, but you're not going to lose them. Like, you want to watch those numbers. And again, it's all covered in the book. And the book even has many examples of what are good numbers to be hitting, like conversion numbers, right? It's not just number of people who saw the ad. Of course, those vanity metrics may be a little bit nice, but they're certainly not going to make your bottom line and your profitability and your revenue be what you want it to be. We need to know all the numbers of how those ads are working to get them to your site and then converting to a scheduled appointment. And it's all laid out in the book, and it gives you examples of what those numbers should be. And so that would be the next step is, and realize this is, once you've got that foundation in place, the word of mouth you generate in the community, just all of these, what we'll call organic factors for growth, will already be contributing to your improvement. You're already going to be doing better organically with no expense except for the expense in setting it up and educating your staff in the things that they should be doing, right? So with that organic level, you're going to be doing much better. And then if you want to do advertising to, let's say, add another extra 5 or 10 new patients, new clients coming in the door every month, then you could do some Facebook ads. Let's say spend $1,000 a month on Facebook ads, on Meta. That'll also be putting ads out on Instagram, because those are related or sister companies. Maybe Google ads. We often have clients doing maybe $1,000 on Meta and $500 or $1,000 on Google, depending on how aggressive they want to be with their advertising. But we only want to do that once this organic foundation is built, and it's all covered in the book. So that would be the next step to then push up your new client numbers coming in the door every month. And again, it's so great when that starts to really happen for you, because that's the flywheel effect, because you have that loyalty, because your medicine is good. So then your long-term growth is very sustainable and very trackable, and it's the stress factor comes off, because those people are not going to be all coming in for one service, for that one pet appointment. Now they're going to come back every 6 months or every year, and they're going to spend more money with you over the lifetime of that pet. And then certainly they'll get a new pet and bring that pet in, right? So then it's just up to you to deliver great service, and that flywheel effect really goes in motion, and it's hard to slow down, really.
Yeah, that is absolutely right. So there were so many practical takeaways in this conversation. Now, Cebron, before we end this podcast, would you also tell us more about your book?
So the book is Veterinary Marketing, and the book is written and it's actually going through the publishing phase, right? So it's being typeset and it's being ready to be prepared for release. And I'm so excited about it. And I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to talk about it. But it's called Build a Predictable New Client Engine, Veterinary Marketing. And once it's on Amazon, it's going to be very easy to find because you just go Veterinary Marketing Book from Cebron Walker. The subtitle is Handbook for Practice Growth in an AI Era. And it lays out, first off, a great overview of the sort of situation we're all in as veterinary practices in an era of AI in this modern, very noisy marketplace. Also with large corporate buying up practices, right? So it lays out that where we stand, and then it gets into the 7 sort of factors of growth in sequence, so you really understand it. And I've laid it out in language I hope it makes total, like, clear sense to veterinary owners, veterinary students, practice managers, people that an owner wants to read the book and implement it so they can hand it to other. Like, I think for a practice owner to have several copies to give it to the key people in their practice to read. So everybody's on the same page about how you build a great practice. And it's certainly not about how to do advertising on Meta or something. It's not that. It's the things you need to do in the practice. And not only the theoretical, like I said, every chapter has practical exercises to implement, to take immediate steps to improve where you're at in that phase of your growth. And so, yeah, it's just everything I've seen that we've done successfully that needed to go to every veterinary clinic in the world. I mean, it's in English. I can't wait to try to translate it into other languages. I'm probably going to need to have people tell me like where they need it translated first. But certainly it's exciting to be able to help as many vet clinics as I possibly can that I'm not able to reach with myself.
That's true. Okay, absolutely. That's amazing. Cebron, thank you so much for joining us on the Veterinary Business Podcast. This was such a timely and valuable conversation for veterinary practice owners who are trying to understand how marketing is changing, how AI is influencing client acquisition, and how independent practice can also compete in a marketplace where corporate groups are gaining ground. I really appreciated your perspective on how independent veterinary practices can stay competitive by understanding where they stand online, adapting to how pet owners search today, and making smarter marketing decisions for the future. So for our listeners, once again, Cebron's new book, Veterinary Marketing, is a helpful resource for practices looking to strengthen their digital presence, improve client acquisition, and grow in the AI era. And also, as a quick reminder, if today's conversation made you wonder how your own practice is showing up online, especially compared to local competitors, our platinum sponsor, Equa Marketing, they're offering a complimentary marketing strategy meeting. Book your meeting at veterinarybusinessinstitute.com/MSM. Cebron, thank you again for being here, and thank you to everyone listening to the Veterinary Business Podcast.